Welcome to Chamber Talk, brought to you by North Orange County Chamber, where we explore the stories and insights of leaders, business owners and CEOs from various sectors who are making a difference in our community and region. Whether you're tuning in via podcast or joining us via video, we're glad to have you here. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Andrew Gregson, and today we have a story of legacy, craftsmanship, and determination that spans generations. Joining me today is Danny, one of the brothers behind Happy Jewelers. Started by their own father, Isa, in 1973. From humble beginnings to renowned name in jewelry, their journey is not just about diamonds, it's about grit, values, and staying power. Danny, welcome to Chamber Talk.
Thank you for having me.
Danny, I'm going to start off with quite an easy question for you, just so our audience know, a little bit about you guys. And let's start at the beginning. Your father, Isa, has an incredible story, leaving behind a life of a farming in Turkey, and then discovering his talent, and then, of course, moving over here in 1993. We offline just mentioned how scary that was, or could be today. How was that for you guys back then?
Well, for us, the moving aspect of it, I was only 4 years old, so I was young. So I kind of grew up here. From his aspect of it, they grew up as farmers. So they didn't really have much money. They grew up in a village, and even till today, it's still a village. We still have our home over there, which is not really like, we finally fixed it up just for like the legacy of his grandparents and stuff like that. But up until a couple years ago, there wasn't even a TV. And there was no electricity, So when he was younger, he always wanted a better life for at that time he didn't have kids, right? So he always wanted a better life for his brothers, his sisters. So when he was a little bit of age, I want to say he was around like 12, 13 years old, he moved to the big city in Istanbul. And I think my grandpa only gave him like 50 cents to $1 to get there.
Right.
And he worked all jobs, janitor, cleaner, driver. And then one day he picked up a job with a successful man that owned a jewelry manufacturing business. But his job wasn't, a repair guy or a jewelry maker. He was hired as a runner.
Right.
Essentially, like, a client comes in, they're looking at stuff, he'll run and go grab them a coffee, go grab them tea, go grab them a sandwich, go grab them dessert, whatever it is. And, my father used to always look at the bench jewelers working, and they used to make chains. And the owner used to always see my dad was really intrigued by it. And one day, one of the guys was sick. He didn't come to work. And they were short-staffed. So, he asked my dad, he said, why don't you sit down? Let me see what you can do. You're always watching them. Let's see if you actually learned something. And my dad sat down and he finished a chain really, really quick. The guy was really impressed. He hired him.
Wow, what a good start.
Yeah, I hired him literally on the spot. And they had such a good relationship with his boss that his boss actually helped him start his own manifacturing business.
That's really cool. Yeah. That's a great start. That's a great start.
Yeah, it started from there. And then, when his brothers came of age, he brought his, he slowly started bringing his brothers into the main city in Istanbul. And they slowly built the business, and they slowly started coming here.
So do you feel your father had sort of like a bit of a design factor in him, or because you've got to have had something, haven't you?
He had a vision.
Right,
yeah.
right.
My dad had a vision of what he wanted. He had a vision of what he wanted for his kids and for his brother's kids. My dad was a very family man. He always kept the family together, not just his family. It was even relatives, cousins, not even his own brothers. My dad always wanted a community, and he always wanted to help the whole community. Even when he came here to the States, when other relatives were in Turkey and they wanted to come in, and him having the manufacturing business, he was a little bit successful. He used to actually give them merchandise to start their businesses and help them grow their businesses.
That's really cool.
And really built it.
So how far did he get prior to coming over to the US? How far had he built his business up?
Oh, he built it. I mean, he had a very...
he was already doing really well.
Very successful business. But
and then you uprooted and came. That takes some courage.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about that earlier. It's like, even now today, at these times, I don't know if I could pick up my kids and leave to a different country. And even with, having a solid foundation of money, I don't know if I can be able to go with no language. They didn't know how to speak English.
Wow.
And it's not like they were young. They couldn't just start going to school.
Right.
They literally built it from scratch with zero language, and they learned the language, and they also built a business at the same time.
That's amazing.
But he was a big designer. He knew he knew how to make jewelry.
Right.
He knew how to design it, and he was very meticulous. He was very, if something wasn't right, he would put a torch to it, melt it, and restart it.
Wow.
He wasn't like, oh, it's okay.
That'll do. Right.
Do. He would not, even literally when I used to work with him when I was young, even to where he would put his pen and his calculator. I remember he used to always get upset with me because I used to pick up a pen, use it, and then I would put it somewhere else.
Right.
He would always say, you know where it goes, put it where it is because it'll make you more efficient.
Right.
Instead of running around looking for a calculator or a pen and losing 5-10 minutes and driving yourself crazy and stressing out, just put it back where it is and pick it up where you need it from. And that's it.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So transitioning from Turkey over to here, obviously you said you were very young.
Yes.
And they landed in LA first, was it? Is that the beginning?
No. We landed in New Jersey, actually.
Okay.
But he sent his brothers over here, but my dad didn't like the weather in New Jersey because we actually have more relatives in the East Coast than we do here. And my dad also wanted to be by his brothers.
Okay.
So then we came to LA.
Right. And then you started in the LA market, the merchant market, or?
Yes, we started Arik Mounting, which is a jewelry manufacturer and is still there today.
Yeah.
Still exists and still operating. And, my dad did the manufacturing aspect, and he also had a lot of friends from Turkey as well that moved here that were in the manufacturing business as well. And in 2008, when the recession took place, a lot of these manufacturers were going out of business, right? Because it is what it is, right? They weren't having the orders that they were, and business slowed down for everybody. So what my father did is, because my father was never a flashy guy, right? Whatever he made, he put back into his business.
Right.
So when 2008 hit, he actually said, you know what, I'm going to switch my business around. I'm going to become more of a service business because when jewelers would come in, they weren't ordering 100 pieces anymore, 20 pieces, 30 pieces, 50 pieces. It was more like, okay, well, I need one piece and that's all I need. Right. So what he did is he created a service center downstairs and said, you know what, I'm going to stock all the merchandise. I'm going to put it out. I'm going to stock all the mountings. He told some of his buddies, he said, you guys stay in business. Here are the molds. As I need them, I'll give you guys the orders so you guys don't go out of business because you guys have families and you guys have homes and you have people to feed.
Right.
And his business even exploded even more, right? Because now jewelers were able to come in and the pieces were ready to go.
Right.
They were able to buy one piece or two piece, whatever the item was, and they could just go on their way.
Wow.
And my dad became really famous for that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So then the jewelry market doing really well, as you were just mentioning there. When did you sort of like move away from LA and come over to Fullerton?
So when my brother came of age, when he was 18 years old, he graduated high school. He walked into college, literally walked into the class and said, you know what? He went to Cal State Fullerton. He said, this is not for me. Literally like walked in, picked up the phone, called my dad. My dad said, okay, no problem. Just come back. And my uncles had in Fullerton, there's a jewelry mart over there and it's a bunch of kiosks, right? They're like, there's 29 kiosks in a big building and everybody leases it. The owner subleases it to all the vendors there. One of my dad's customers wanted to retire and get out of the business. So my dad bought that business for my brother, which is known today as Happy Jewelers. It belonged to an Oriental family. And my dad said, you know what, keep the name. They've been in business there for 10, 15 years.
Right.
Don't get rid of the name, keep the name. And we opened that one in 2001.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So then how did you sort of like filter into the business? Because Gabe's not here, so sorry, he doesn't get the chance to share that now. But Danny, as you were growing up, was it something that really interested you or?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. We've been around the business since we were like 7, 8 years old.
Sure.
And my dad didn't let us start from the top.
Of course, that's the way to do. Start at the bottom, right?
Literally,
right.
from cleaning the showcases.
Totally makes sense.
Because my dad always said, if you're able to perfect every aspect of your business, you know what capabilities you could ask your employees to do. And you have the expectations, but you also know what goes into it, right?
Totally understand.
So if you need to teach somebody, you know how to teach them.
Right.
But I started in the jewelry mart with my brother. My brother was a tough one too. Even growing up because he's 7 years older than me.
Right.
So even at 11, 12 years old, he used to make me go to work with him every single weekend. And I used to literally work at the store every single weekend. And then when I graduated, I started helping my dad. And then the Happy Jewelers was growing so fast that I went in and started helping my brother, and we grew it to what it is today.
So I'm assuming you've got certain aspects of the business that you prefer than the other. What is your favorite part? What do you like doing most?
Yeah. So we actually split the business up within what he runs and within what I run.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So he runs the diamonds, jewelry aspect of the whole business. He'll oversee the buying. He'll oversee the production. He'll oversee all of that. and I do the high-end watches.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Less arguments between siblings, isn't it?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
That makes sense.
Less arguments, less mistakes, and we work well better that way.
Right.
He's like my best friend.
So does he do design like your father had?
Of course.
Right.
Yeah, my brother is really smart.
Right.
I mean, his brain works differently, and I wish I had that characteristic of him. I mean, he's the type that, he used to sit there in the classroom and somebody would say something to him, or the teacher would say something, he wouldn't have to study. It was in his head,
Wow.
And he's meticulous like my dad.
Right.
Very anal, needs to be perfect, doesn't matter. And he'll teach the person that's doing it for him until they make it perfect. And he'll make them redo it 50 times so that they know that the next time that they're going to do something, it better be perfect or he's going to make them redo it.
Right.
They're going to redo the same thing over and over and over again. So in that aspect, design-wise, craftsmanship, perfection, he's 100%.
Now, watching Happy Jewelers grow into what you guys have it today, what would you say were some of the challenges that you faced along the way? And then, of course, sharing a little bit about the wins and what went right for you, just for folks who, thinking about business or doing in business themselves.
Yeah, of course. I mean, challenges is with any business, right? It's growth. It's growing and maintaining that, the craftsmanship, the quality, and everything that still is in play, and also the family business role of it, right? We have a big business, we have 60, 70 employees, but if you walk in, it's still like a family-owned jewelry store. So I think that was some of the biggest challenges. Also production, hiring. I mean, finding good help is the hardest thing in the world, right?
Is there still a lot of skilled, because you got to have some skills to be able to work on jewelry and stuff.
It's not easy.
I was going to say there's less, is there?
Yes, that's the hardest thing to find is a skilled jeweler, a skilled setter, and a watchmaker.
I was going to say watchmaker. That's got to be really hard skills
very,
these
very
days.
Tough. Thank God we got lucky, and all of our guys that have been with us had been with us for 20 plus years.
Right.
But even now, as we hire, we have to train them.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's got like a little mini apprenticeship going on.
Kind of, yeah.
Right.
I mean, you want to hire like seasoned guys that kind of know what they're doing, because our setting, we don't set it like normal stores. We set all of our diamonds under microscopes. So if you walk into our store, it's not like they're not doing it by eye like they used to do back in the day. The guy's literally staring through it 10, 20, 30.
Really, when they're coming out.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's the toughest. I think that was probably one of the biggest challenges of our business, is actually finding the jewelers, the setters, and everything like that to make our dream a reality.
So, moving forward on that point, right? Because this is a big deal for you guys, because this is your whole life, right?
Yeah.
So how do you maintain that? Because I understand, you've got folks there been there for many years, which is commendable and awesome, isn't it? Then when staff stay that long, that sounds like the business knows what it's doing. But what happens for the future as you're moving forward? How do you sort of like determine what you're going to do with that?
We have a really, really, really anal process of quality control.
Okay.
It'll literally run through about 3 setters' hands, and it'll run through 3 of our professionals' hands. And then the last day will be my brother.
So you've almost got like a control center. So if somebody's learning still a little bit, they're still hands-on, and then in time they'd move up, I'm assuming, as they get better. Well, that's a cool way of doing it. All right.
I mean, we even have, our production managers, to the assistant production manager, to the person that's, telling them what to do. They're all checking that work, and it's going through literally like maybe 7, 8 hands before it reaches the customer. Right. Whether it's a very simple design, simple ring, or something that has 1,000 stones. Okay. It doesn't matter. Every single item goes through that process, because, a lot of people don't realize is we lifetime guarantee all of our stuff. Wow. Right. And it's not just because, we want the customer to get the perfect piece, right? But we're also a business, right? If we don't build a perfect product and something breaks, a diamond falls out, or this happens, that happens, it needs this, it's going to cost us millions of dollars at the end of the year.
Of course.
So we want the customer to have a perfect item, because that speaks volumes, and that's your best advertisement, right? But then we also want the piece to last as well.
Now, because we'll get to watches in a minute, because I know that's your love, because you just shared it with us. But when you regarding your sort of like the jewelry side, how much would you say is the difference between folks buying what maybe you've designed and you've got in the store to how somebody wants something customed? Is there a big split there between clients? Or?
I would say probably 60-40.
Okay.
60 buying what we have in store versus 40. But our designs are different though.
Yes.
Right? Like you're not going to walk
mainstream.
in.
Right.
Yeah, like you're not going to walk into our store and see a design that you're going to go to every other jewelry store.
So you're going to almost feel that it's a personal piece, basically.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. That's amazing. And how far up do you go with pieces like that? What do you think is, if you were to, what's the most expensive piece you've ever manufactured or sold?
I mean, we've sold pieces for $2 million.
Wow.
$3 million. Yeah, the sky's the limit. The reason why our store is unique and it's different is because you could walk in and you could buy a piece for $100.
Sure.
You could buy a piece for $500. If you want to spend $1 million, we have that as well too. If you want to spend $2 million, we have that in stock as well. It's not like, oh, let me go get it for you.
Wow.
We have it there at the facility. That's why people love us, because with our customers, we don't want them to go anywhere.
Of course.
We want to service them for everything. It's a one-stop shop. And many people don't have that because you have to have the ability to stock it.
Well, you're really a one-off. Like, it's not very often you have a store like that. Well, I wouldn't even say it's a store. It's almost like a workshop and everything, isn't it? All in one, where you have it all there and you're able to service your clientele like that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So moving on to watches, that's your particular game.
Yeah.
So what timepieces aren't that easy, are they? You know, there's lots of different ones out there. There's lots of different trends. What is it that sort of like magnetizes you to that industry?
I enjoy it. I love it. I love watches, so I enjoy doing it. I love the horology behind it, the movements. I mean, some of these pieces that these watchmakers make are extraordinary. So when you're looking at it, and it's also like the history of it, right? They've been around for so long. They came through hurdles. I mean, a lot of these companies sometimes almost went bankrupt. There was one design that brought them all back to life.
Right.
So I just enjoy it. I enjoy the trend of it. I enjoy the movements. And I enjoy the customers that are buying it.
And part of the store can, if somebody has, let's say, have an older timepiece, are they able to come in and you guys might be able to repair it or service it? Do you send it off, or how does that work?
We do everything in house.
Okay.
Yeah, everything in house. You have a modern watch, you have a vintage watch, whatever you have. If it's not running, it's not working, or you just want to see what's wrong with it, bring it by. We have an in-house watchmaker that will actually diagnose it right then and there, and you can fix it as well.
That's amazing. So I've got 2 timepieces that I was given from my great-great-grandparents.
Really?
Yeah. So they're from the 1800s. One runs and one doesn't. So I think I'm going to bring them in, see if you can have a look at them.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Please.
That'd be awesome.
I like that.
Because I've been scared to send them to anywhere. Because as you know, lots of people tell you they do something, but then they don't. They send it somewhere else. And actually learning somebody who does it is a big difference.
Yeah, big time. And it's very, very hard to find that. I mean, as we were talking, watchmaking is a dying art.
It is a dying art. You're right.
You know, not many people. So it's like you find a good watchmaker, it's very, very difficult, because there's a lot of watchmakers out there. They call themselves watchmakers, but they don't know how to work on items.
No, not at all.
Right? Because, you know, saying, hey, I can overhaul a Rolex. Rolexes are easier to overhaul.
Right.
Because they're so mass produced that a lot of watchmakers will study them and they'll learn it. But to know how to work on other movements is very, very difficult. Because other brands, they do these in-house movements and they're always changing and they're always evolving. So the watchmaker has to always be studying in order to learn it. Like, you know, there's perpetual calendars, there's tourbillon movements. There's some movements where if there's such new, like let's say it's a 2024 tourbillon and it stops working, there's even some movements where I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to touch it either. I'm going to send it out to the manufacturer.
Just makes sense too.
And they're just going to fix it.
Right. So what on that point, you know, because this day and age, we see a lot online about, you know, fake watches, handbags, jewelry, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Is this something, as time goes along, do you guys have to continue to learn, or is it something it's just easy to spot because fakers are getting better, or is this hits the industry, or
you have to continue to learn?
Right.
Yeah, because they're making such good replicas right now of things that you need to constantly learn what those replicas are. And, you know, within the watch business is a very tight-knit business, right? You work with a lot of dealers, and a lot of dealers will share information with other dealers. So it's like, if somebody spots a fake, they'll take a picture in the movement, they'll send it out, they'll shoot it to everybody. Hey, just beware, you know, we came across this, watch looked perfect, but this was wrong. I mean, sometimes it's literally just one piece is off.
Right.
Where it's wrong. So you always have to study and you always have to evolve, because if you don't, the last thing you want to do is sell a watch that's as real. That's not, even if it's an honest mistake, it's really bad.
So moving into the business itself, it sounded like, as you were mentioning it, the way that you've set things, do you sort of still run the business the way your dad did, and then that sort of like just carried through? So it was really the same mentality type there?
Yep. Customer service.
That's good.
That's the main thing. Sometimes people ask, like, how did you build the business to what it is today? Because we're probably one of the biggest jewelry stores in the country.
Right.
I said, there's no recipe for business, right? There's no like, oh my God, like I'm going to do this and it's going to be successful.
Right.
It's just service and take care of people. Be kind.
Right.
Be nice and do the right thing. And I swear to God, sometimes I even tell my little cousins and stuff like that are getting into the business. They go, what advice do you have? I said, it's very simple, dude. Just be nice, be kind, do the right thing, give good customer service, create relationships. And I promise you, you'll make money. You know, depending on how hard you want to work is what you will grow it to.
I agree that. Right? Yeah.
But if you do those 5 things correctly, you'll have a successful business where you'll be able to provide for your family.
Talking about, continuing with your father's legacy, and obviously you're innovating in your own way. Do you feel that there's new things that are moving forward for the corporation itself, for the business itself?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking to expand. We're always looking to get, better. And we're always looking for more space. I don't know if we would. Yeah.
I don't know if there's any more buildings in Fullerton.
I know. You know, I don't know if we would necessarily I don't think we would ever move to like
from
a different
that spot. Right.
Yeah, maybe expand. And I don't think we would ever open up more locations because people always like, we have a lot of customers out of state, right? We have a lot of customers in New York. We have a lot of customers. We have customers from everywhere.
Well, yeah, literally. Once you're founded like that, really, I mean, apart from if you need a larger manufacturing area, why would you move your place, right?
Yeah. No, people are like, I have a lot of customers, let's say in Vegas or Texas or Fresno. I'll open up a second location. I said, you tell me to open up a second location, but I said, if me and my brother are not there, it's going to be totally different.
Of course, always is.
Yeah, it's going to be very corporate. They're not going to be able to do certain things. It's like a lot of times it's like, if me and my brother weren't there, 30-40% of the transactions might not happen. It's because the owners are there. You see them face to face. We're always there.
Right.
Sometimes difference. When people come in, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe both of you guys are here. We are always on the floor.
Right.
And me and my brother or both of us will literally say hi to every single customer that walks in. It does not really matter.
Cool. I love that. I really do like that. So that's from my own heart. I do things like that too. I love that idea.
Yeah.
So moving a little bit forward, because obviously I feel that it would be a big deal. What happens to protecting your business? Because it's not just about insurance I'm talking about here. I mean, you're in a business that, it can be scary at times.
Yes.
What type of serious measures do you have to take care of when it comes to security?
Yeah. We have 2 security guards at all times in front of the door, letting people in, letting people out. And we normally will have one person walking around the parking lot as well to make sure nobody's sitting in their car watching the store or anything like that. So we have 3 active security guards at all times.
That's crazy, isn't it? It's a lot. Yeah, that's an awful lot.
Yeah, and it's a lot of. We have normally off-duty cops
that makes sense
there as well too. So it's, highly trained, highly professional, and they're always on the lookout.
And then talking about insurance, because that's got to be a big thing too. I mean, do you struggle like everybody else with insurance these days?
No, thank God.
It's a little different.
No, thank God. We have a good insurance. We don't struggle with insurance because we have everything in place though. Anything and everything they wanted.
You've done it.
We've done it. I mean, walk-in vaults, state of the art walk-in vault. Right. Inside of the walk-in vault, we have vaults in there as well too.
Wow.
So we don't just have one walk-in vault where we put everything in. We have one walk-in vault
with another vault
with 4 other vaults in there. So like if you come in, you're not getting anything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a serious stuff, though, isn't it? If you think about it.
Oh, it's crazy.
Well, you got to really think about it.
Yeah.
You're going from customer service to designing things to learning a trade. It just adds on the amount of work you really need to understand running such a business.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So in your spare time, right, what do you guys, when you're not there 7 days a week, what are you doing?
We're family men. We have wife, we have kids, and we try to spend when we're not at work, we try to spend it with our family and our kids. Gabe has 4 kids. I have 4 kids. So we're busy at home as well too.
Do you think the kids are going to move into the industry when they're older?
Yes. I hope so. Wow, I hope so. Yeah. I don't want to say yes. Like, I don't want to be that guy like, oh my God, you better take over my business and blah, blah, blah,
Do you think there's at least 1 or 2 that are interested?
We have enough of them where, we have 8 of them. So I'm sure 1 or 2 of them will want to take over the business.
So whose daughter was the one on the video?
That was my daughter.
It's not that guy.
Oh man, she has a mouth on her. I'll tell you that.
I love that though.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was cute. She's
Probably going to be the one taking over there.
I think so. Yeah. She'll walk around with a little bag trying to sell the bag. You know, she'll walk around with some jewelry cleaner and this and that. She'll try to sell it to people for like $100. I'm like, Leah, I said, we give that stuff for free. You can't sell it.
I love that. That was really cute. That was really cool.
Thank you.
So as far as, folks, obviously they've heard of Happy Jewelers in town. Some people, I don't know, shoppers are different. Some folks feel a little bit intimidated when they walk into stores and things like that. I get that.
Of course.
Especially when you walk into a regular jewelry store because everybody ascends on you like you are the pie coming in and they're doing. What sort of advice would you provide customers, whether they're just walking in and really thinking they want to, purchase something and not sure, right up to those who maybe want a special appointment because they're doing something very special?
Yeah. That's one thing we always tell our employees is you always have to have a smile on your face and always be ready to help. And if a customer says, hey, you know what, I'm just looking, give me some time, back off. Don't think them because it is intimidating walking into a jewelry store. Very, very intimidating. Even me, myself, I'm a jeweler. If I walk into like a Rolex store or another jewelry store, even I get nervous.
Right.
And I'm in the business. I understand everything. And even I get nervous. I can't tell. I wouldn't know what it would feel like to walk in trying to buy an engagement ring, right? It's like it's already such a big thing in your life that you're trying to do. And you're walking into a jewelry store. So our main thing is we're very friendly. We're very easygoing. And we have one of the funnest environments you'll ever be in. A lot of our customers say, we just want to come in and hang out.
That's cool.
Because, it's like we're laughing, there's music on, we're talking, we're messing around. It's not like you're not going to walk in, you're going to see like 20 salespeople in suits.
Sure.
It's a very casual environment. We're very easygoing and just we have a good time. So,
that's good.
I tell all customers, just walk in. Don't worry about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I know you both of you're very heavily involved in the local community. You want to share a little bit about what you do outside of work regarding community and things like that?
We do a lot of charities
throughout
the whole community. We donate to a lot of the private schools around town, a lot of the public schools. Anything and everything we could do with charity, we do it because, God blessed us with a successful business. We want to give back and we want to give back in any way we can. We just did this past Saturday with Mayor Blair from Brea. We did Shoes for Soldiers where they raise money and they help soldiers out that came out of the forest, like to whatever it is. I mean, diapers, getting them into jobs, making free suits for them and stuff like that. So anything and everything we could do, we do it and we do a lot of it.
That's really nice. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So if somebody was, obviously being in the Chamber of Commerce, it's all about business and what have you. And, you're a very established business, very different to those who are starting off. In the world you see, you'd mentioned before about customer kindness and so on and so forth. What types of advice do you think you would share with somebody who's sort of in that, they're in business already, but they're finding it difficult? Because you've sat through those things yourself.
Of course. You have to use the tools around you, right? I mean, you have to use social media. You have to use YouTube. You have to use Facebook. You have to use the community around you. You have to be involved in your community. You have to go out there, put yourself out there. Business is not easy and nothing's going to come for free. A lot of people think like, I even have a lot of relatives like, or people within the business, man, you guys' social media is so good. I don't know how you do it. I go, it's a lot of work. It's not easy. Yeah, it's not.
You make it look easy.
Yeah,
right.
You just see the video popping up and you see that, but there's a whole team behind it, and you have to put the time, you have to put that effort into it. I always say overnight successes I don't want to say will fail, but can fail just
most
as easily.
Likely, yeah, right. Just as quick.
Just as quick, yeah. A slow success will always maintain.
Let's keep going up.
And it will keep going up as long as you keep doing the right thing. So I would say, put yourself out there, use the things around you and be involved in the community.
I love that. That's really cool. That's good. So, you've been around for a good 50 years, right?
Yeah.
And, have you got an anniversary coming up? You've got to be nearly to some celebrational day. I mean, yes. I mean,
I try not to think about it, but I'm sure we do.
You sure you do. What would you say are maybe, the things that affect your business in a positive way in commerce around you. So, your jewelry, who else around you assists in broadening your business?
There's a thing in Fullerton. I don't know why I'm skipping out on the name. What he does is he brings all the businesses within each other, and everybody will put like a little bit of money every month, and they have like dinners and lunches and stuff like that. And because he did that, every Saturday we used to buy lunch for the staff.
Nice.
And we used to order from random things on Postmates or whatever it is, and we used to buy for the whole staff on Saturdays, right? Because it's a busy day Saturday. Sometimes people don't have time to leave or anything like that. But because of him now, we only order within Fullerton.
That's
right?
cool.
To support the local businesses around there. And it's like, we're feeding 70, 80 people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
So, every Saturday we choose a different place and we give the business within that.
I love that. That's really cool. That is nice.
That's cool. But we do business with
local.
Exactly. But we do business within the whole Fullerton
region. Right. Of course. So as we're drawing towards a bit of an end here, we always let our guests have the open mic, right? So there's something you might want to get something off your chest in a good way, right? Or maybe just share something or whatever. So I wanted to give you that time, Danny, just to share a little bit about maybe we've missed something you want to discuss or whatever.
You kind of covered all aspects of our business, which is really good.
I love that, and that's important.
Yeah,
I've got a question for you. Actually, okay. You see it all over the internet. Everybody giving their view of what's the best watches, and of course, we've got ones out there that the majority of us will never own, right? Yes. But just general folks, what do you feel are a few good brands to wear on a lady's or gentleman's wrist?
Yeah. Look, Rolex is number one. Because of popularity, they make a great watch. They're going to build a watch that literally lasts forever. Right. And it'll always hold the best value because there's always going to be a resale market for it. There's always people that are going to buy it. I would say next to it are going to be like Omega, Tag, are really, really great watches because they're going to build a watch that's going to last forever and it's a better price point.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have the crazier brands, which are going to be like the Patek Philippe's, the Richard Milles, the Audemars Piguet, and those kind of brands. Those are great brands as well too, but I would say probably top three in popularity and accessibility. I would say are probably going to be Rolex, Omega, and Tag.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Those are the top three.
Yeah.
Well, we're everyday working watch.
Yeah. You're not going to wear a $300,000 Richard Mille on a daily. There are some people that do, but you're not going to wear it as an everyday piece. You're not going to buy a $150,000 Patek and try to wear it every day. So yeah, in a normal aspect, I would say those are the three brands that if I was going to buy and I wanted it for an everyday piece.
Right. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's smart. That's cool. Well, thank you for that.
Of course.
You've probably cleared up everything that I've ever seen now online. Ask an expert.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. Ask an expert.
I love it.
So, I wanted to first off thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Happy Jewelers is such it's almost like I think it was smart to keep the name because you've almost continued what the namesake is. When you were saying you do, I went into the store some years ago. We actually had Jennifer's engagement ring fixed, and we didn't feel overwhelmed or what have you. So I think that you've kept the namesake and you've put it into your business as well. I really, it really is like a happy place.
Yes, it's catchy. I'm really, really happy we didn't change the name. People like when we first started, people were kind of like, I don't want to say laugh at or make fun of it, but it was like, it's a little bit. Yeah,
you think can you come up with something better?
Yeah,
no.
But now the trend is like, go to Happy.
Yeah,
go to the Happy guys.
Yeah,
they're gonna take care of you. Go to Happy, and everybody knows it. We have people, and when I tell this to people, they think I'm exaggerating or, I'm making it up. But I have people that fly overseas to come and see us.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like I have people from Dubai. I have people from Hong Kong. I have people from India. I have people from Saudi Arabia. I have people from Australia, all over Europe. They will actually fly and they'll make a vacation out of it just to come see our store and see the product that we have. Because the product that we have in our store in that single building, you will not be able to walk into any jewelry store in the world and be able to see that.
That's such a credit to you, isn't it? That? Wow. Imagine that. Gotta feel proud about that sometimes.
It is sometimes. Sometimes
humbling, but really proud about it.
It is. You know, I sometimes I don't think about it, and then you'll have this crazy collector fly in from the Middle East or from Australia or whatever it is, and the guy himself has a $3-4 million watch collection, and he gets blown away. And it's like guys like this, they'll tell you like, we've been to stores all around the world, we've never seen anything like this, and that's that makes you a little proud,
It
But
does.
you
It
always
does.
gotta stay
You
humble.
get that moment, you go, wow.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good, but
Good for you.
you always gotta, me and my brother, when we think about growing the business and, doing better and better, I promise you, and this goes for him as well too, and I know it, we don't ever think about money.
Right.
It's not like, oh my God, I want to be worth this much money.
Just want to better the business, better your service.
That's it.
Yeah, I understand that.
I've never thought, like, even sometimes our CFO goes crazy on us. Like, he goes, well, don't you want to know at the end of the year what you did and what you made? I'm like, did we make money? Yes. I'm good.
Right. Yeah.
I just want to keep serving people. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Our business is fun. There are stressful times about it, of course, and every business, it is what it is, right? No business is going to just run perfectly the way it is.
No.
But we have a blast, and that's why we love doing our business, because we go in and we make people happy. We share beautiful moments with people, and that's what we want to do, and we want to do it at the fair price. That's why we offer wholesale pricing. Can we charge more for product? Yeah, of course.
Of course. Right.
Because we have the name.
Yeah.
People trust us. We could charge more than a lot of other jewelry stores, but we don't do that. We keep our prices lower than every other jewelry store, and we make it affordable for everybody, no matter who you are.
That's really cool. And I think you're definitely right there. Is if you're just chasing money, you're missing everything else in your business, aren't you? Because that's really your main focus.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like root of all evil. That's what they say, right?
It's not fun anymore.
It isn't. It isn't. No.
Now
You're right.
you're chasing for money. It's like, for what?
Yeah. You're
make
right.
people happy. Support your family.
Because you're going to love what you do.
That's it.
And you clearly obviously love what you do.
Yeah,
So
we have a good time.
That's a good thing.
We have a good time. That's cool.
Well, Danny, thank you so very much for coming on today. Really do appreciate it. Listeners, thank you very much for spending time with us today on Chamber Talk. If you would like to catch more conversations with leaders shaping North Orange County, head over to chambertalk.podbean.com. And if you're watching on YouTube or tuning in through your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to subscribe and share. Want to stay in the loop with all the things in the business community? Visit nocchamber.com and hit sign up for news right in the middle of the homepage. Until next time, stay inspired, stay engaged, and keep building a stronger community.